The Scandals and Shockwaves of 1980, 12 Unforgettable Facts. The year 1980 was a turning point for the world, marked by seismic political shifts, shocking tragedies, and unprecedented scandals. From the world stage to personal lives that became public fodder, the events of this year left a lasting imprint on history. Here are 12 of the most scandalous and shocking facts about the year 1980, providing a deep dive into its fascinating and turbulent moments. Number 1. The assassination of John Lennon, the day the music died. On December 8, 1980, John Lennon, one of the most iconic figures in music and a former Beatle, was fatally shot outside his residence at the Dakota in New York City. His killer, Mark David Chapman, had spent the day lurking outside the building, armed with a .38 caliber revolver and carrying a copy of J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye. Earlier that evening, Chapman approached Lennon for an autograph on his album Double Fantasy. Hours later, when Lennon returned with his wife, Yoko Ono, Chapman fired 5 shots, hitting Lennon 4 times. The 40-year-old musician was pronounced dead on arrival at Roosevelt Hospital. The murder devastated fans worldwide, with millions gathering in vigils. "If there's such a thing as the end of an era, this is it," Paul McCartney said. Chapman, who later claimed he killed Lennon to gain fame, remains in prison, while Lennon's legacy endures as a symbol of peace and artistic genius. Number 2. Mount St Helens eruption, a force of nature. At 8:32 a.m. on May 18, 1980, Mount St Helens erupted violently, marking one of the most catastrophic natural disasters in U.S. history. Triggered by a magnitude 5.1 earthquake, the eruption decimated 230 square miles of forest and released 1.5 cubic kilometers of volcanic material. Volcanologist David A. Johnston, stationed at an observation post 6 miles away, radioed his now famous final words, "Vancouver. Vancouver. This is it," before the blast obliterated his position. The eruption killed 57 people, including photographer Reed Blackburn, whose body was later found in his car buried under ash. The ash plume rose 15 miles into the sky, causing darkness in cities hundreds of miles away. The disaster resulted in $1.1 billion in damages, reshaping the landscape and leaving a lasting legacy as a reminder of nature's overwhelming power. Number 3. The Miracle on Ice, an underdog triumph. On February 22, 1980, the U.S. Olympic hockey team stunned the world by defeating the Soviet Union, a 4-time defending gold medalist, in the semifinals of the Winter Olympics in Lake Placid. Comprised of college players and led by coach Herb Brooks, the U.S. team faced a Soviet squad that had humiliated them 10-3 in an exhibition just weeks earlier. With goals by Mike Eruzione and Mark Johnson, the U.S. secured a 4-3 victory. Do you believe in miracles? Yes, broadcaster Al Michaels exclaimed, cementing the event in history. Amidst Cold War tensions, the victory symbolized hope, resilience, and national pride, making it one of the most celebrated sports moments of all time. Number 4. The murder of Dorothy Stratton, beauty lost to violence. On August 14, 1980, 20-year-old Dorothy Stratton, the Playboy Playmate of the Year, was murdered by her estranged husband and manager, Paul Snider. Stratton had risen to fame quickly, with roles in movies like Galaxina and They All Laughed. However, her success strained her relationship with Snider, who became controlling and jealous, particularly of her growing bond with director Peter Bogdanovich. On the day of the murder, Snider lured Stratton to his Los Angeles home under the guise of discussing their divorce. He shot her with a 12-gauge shotgun before taking his own life. Hugh Hefner later mourned, Dorothy was destined to be the next Marilyn Monroe. The tragedy inspired films and books, highlighting the darker side of fame. Number 5. The launch of CNN, a media revolution. On June 1, 1980, Ted Turner launched CNN, the first 24-hour news channel, from Atlanta, Georgia. Skeptics dismissed it as Turner's folly, doubting the viability of constant news coverage. However, the channel's first major success came just days later during its comprehensive coverage of the Mount St Helens eruption. Pioneering the 24-hour news cycle, CNN transformed media consumption, offering global coverage previously unavailable to viewers. Its tagline, "Go live, stay with it, and make it important," became a mantra for modern journalism. CNN's emergence paved the way for competitors like Fox News and MSNBC, forever changing the landscape of broadcast media. Number 6. The boycott of the Moscow Olympics, a political statement. In protest of the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan in December 1979, the U.S. spearheaded a boycott of the 1980 Moscow Summer Olympics. Announced by President Jimmy Carter, the decision led 65 countries, including Canada and West Germany, to withdraw. "We cannot allow this aggression to go unchecked," Carter declared. The boycott, deeply controversial, left many athletes devastated, including those who had trained for years without the chance to compete. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union capitalized on the absence of Western competitors, dominating the medal tally. The boycott marked a high point in Cold War tensions, underscoring the intersection of sports and geopolitics. Number 7. The murder of Marvin Gay, tragedy in the family. On April 1, 1984, legendary Motown singer Marvin Gay was shot and killed by his father, Marvin Gay Sr., following a heated argument in their Los Angeles home. The altercation reportedly stemmed from long-standing familial tensions, exacerbated by Gay's drug use and financial struggles. Gay Sr. shot his son twice with a .38 caliber pistol, killing him instantly. Marvin Gay had just turned 45 the day before. His death shocked fans and the music industry. In court, Gay Sr. claimed self-defense but was ultimately sentenced to a suspended 6-year prison term. Marvin Gaye's untimely death cemented his legacy as one of music's most soulful and tragic figures. Number 8. The disappearance of Azaria Chamberlain, a dingo's prey. On August 17, 1980, Azaria Chamberlain, a 9-week-old infant, disappeared from a campsite near Uluru in Australia. Her mother, Lindy Chamberlain, claimed that a dingo had taken her baby, a story met with widespread skepticism. The case captivated global attention as Lindy was charged with murder in 1982, sentenced to life imprisonment. In 1986, Azaria's jacket was discovered in a dingo lair, leading to Lindy's exoneration. The wrongful conviction highlighted the flaws in forensic science and media sensationalism. Lindy later remarked, "Injustice can never bring comfort to those who seek the truth." Number 9. The Iran hostage crisis escalates, a nation held hostage. By 1980, the Iran hostage crisis, which began on November 4, 1979, dominated global headlines as 52 American diplomats and citizens remained captive at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. The crisis escalated when President Jimmy Carter authorized a risky rescue mission, Operation Eagle Claw, in April 1980. Tragically, the mission failed due to a sandstorm and a collision between a helicopter and a transport plane, resulting in the deaths of 8 U.S. servicemen. This failure, combined with Carter's inability to negotiate the hostages' release, contributed to his declining approval ratings. The hostages were ultimately freed on January 20, 1981, moments after Ronald Reagan's inauguration, symbolizing a bitter end to Carter's presidency and a turning point in U.S.-Iran relations. Number 10. The fitness craze, aerobics takes over. The 1980s ushered in a nationwide fitness craze, epitomized by Jane Fonda's release of her first workout video in 1980. The video, Jane Fonda's Workout, sold over 17 million copies, becoming the top-selling VHS of its time. Aerobics classes surged in popularity, with brightly colored leotards, spandex, and leg warmers becoming cultural staples. Fonda's mantra, "No pain, no gain," resonated with millions, promoting fitness as both a lifestyle and a fashion statement. This movement not only shaped the decade's culture but also laid the groundwork for today's fitness industry, transforming personal health into a mainstream pursuit. Number 11. The Mariel boat lift crisis, a flood of freedom. Between April and October 1980, over 125,000 Cubans fled to the United States during the Mariel boat lift, an unprecedented exodus sanctioned by Cuban leader Fidel Castro. Declaring that anyone who wanted to leave could do so, Castro simultaneously emptied prisons and psychiatric facilities, sending waves of refugees to Florida. The influx overwhelmed U.S. authorities and caused political strain for President Jimmy Carter, who stated, "We cannot turn our backs on people seeking freedom." While many refugees sought new opportunities, the inclusion of criminals and the strain on resources sparked debates about immigration policy. The Mariel boat lift remains one of the largest refugee migrations in U.S. history. Number 12. The election of Ronald Reagan, a new era for America. On November 4, 1980, former actor and California Governor Ronald Reagan defeated incumbent President Jimmy Carter in a landslide victory. Garnering 489 electoral votes to Carter's 49, Reagan's victory marked the beginning of a new conservative era in American politics. His campaign slogan, "Let's Make America Great Again," resonated with voters amid economic woes, including high inflation, unemployment, and the ongoing Iran hostage crisis. Reagan's charismatic presence and optimistic vision for the future appealed to a wide range of Americans, from disillusioned Democrats to emerging conservative voters. His victory also brought a Republican majority to the Senate for the first time in over 2 decades. Reflecting on his win, Reagan remarked, "Government is not the solution to our problem, government is the problem." His presidency would go on to redefine the 1980s, leaving a lasting legacy on both domestic and global fronts.